Most people first meet Claude as a chat window, but the real value appears when we stop treating it like a search box and start treating it like a collaborator. In this video, we'll look at how Claude can help professionals, leaders, and developers work with documents, data, research, code, and business processes. We'll also cover how to prompt it effectively, where projects, artifacts, Claude Code, and MCP fit, and how to use Claude responsibly. The goal is practical. By the end, you should be able to identify at least one workflow in your own work that Claude can improve, not just by generating text, but by helping you move from information to insight and then to action. The biggest shift in generative AI is that the value is moving beyond one question, one answer interactions. A useful Claude workflow usually has 4 stages. First, Claude understands the material you give it. Second, it reasons across that material, comparing options, finding gaps, or building a plan. Third, it creates something useful, such as a report, analysis, prototype, or code change. And fourth, you review and act on the result. That is a much more powerful mental model than simply asking, "Can Claude write this for me?" Think instead, which part of this workflow can I delegate, and what evidence do I need before I trust the output? Claude is useful across several categories of work. It can read and reason across documents, spreadsheets, presentations, PDFs, images, and code. It can assist with current research when web access is available, and it can combine information from connected work sources. It can help analyze data, identify patterns, build visual explanations, and compare alternatives. It can also create, whether that means writing, code, structured documents, or interactive artifacts. The important point is that these capabilities can be combined. For example, you can upload a spreadsheet, ask Claude to identify anomalies, explain the business impact, generate a management summary, and then turn the findings into a decision-ready deliverable. That multi-step flow is where the tool becomes much more valuable. Claude is not a single model. Anthropic offers different model classes for different kinds of work. As of August 2026, Sonnet 5 is positioned as a strong general-purpose workhorse across coding, agents, and professional work. Opus 5 is designed for deeper, more complex tasks, where careful reasoning, long horizon planning, or high-stakes review matters. The Haiku class is optimized more towards speed and efficiency, which makes it useful for simpler, high-volume tasks such as classification, routing, or extraction. The practical lesson is simple. Don't automatically choose the most powerful model for everything. Match the model to the job. Use more capability when complexity justifies it, and use faster, lighter models when the task is predictable and easy to validate. Good prompting is really good briefing. A strong prompt usually contains 4 things. First, context. What Claude should know about the situation. Second, the goal. What a successful result looks like. Third, constraints. The audience, rules, boundaries, and things Claude must not do. And fourth, output. The exact format you want back. Notice the example on the slide. It gives Claude a role, defines the source material, specifies the business question, tells it not to invent missing facts, and defines the structure of the response. One more technique makes prompts much safer. Ask Claude to state its assumptions and uncertainty. That forces the output to distinguish what is known from what is inferred, which is especially important in technical, financial, legal, or operational work. One of the easiest ways to improve Claude's output is to give it the source material, instead of describing the material from memory. Upload the report, spreadsheet, slide deck, image, or document. Then define the job you want done. Compare, extract, analyze, summarize, or create something new. Next, require traceability. Ask Claude to separate facts from inference, identify missing evidence, and reference the source sections that support important conclusions. Finally, iterate on the same deliverable. Instead of starting a new chat every time, say, make the executive summary shorter, or add a risk column and prioritize by business impact. This turns Claude from a one-time generator into an editing and analysis partner that stays grounded in the same working material. Projects are useful when the work is not finished in one conversation. A project can hold a knowledge base, project-specific instructions, and multiple conversations that all relate to the same topic. For example, imagine a cloud migration program. You could upload architecture diagrams, standards, meeting notes, application inventories, and decision records. Then you can create separate chats for security, cost migration planning, and executive communication while keeping the same shared context. Anthropic also supports retrieval-augmented generation as project knowledge grows, so Claude can retrieve relevant information instead of trying to place everything into one prompt. The practical benefit is consistency. You spend less time re-explaining the project and more time building on what has already been established. Artifacts change the question from "What should Claude tell me?" to "What should Claude build for me?" An artifact is substantial, self-contained content that can be edited, iterated, reused, or shared. That might be a dashboard, a calculator, a diagram, a prototype interface, a structured report, or an interactive explainer. For an audience, this is one of the most useful Claude features to demonstrate because it makes the output visible and tangible. A good way to use artifacts is to ask for something that can be tested. For example, build a simple cost calculator for 3 cloud migration options, include adjustable assumptions, and visually highlight the break-even point. You are no longer just receiving advice, you are creating a working tool. Claude becomes more useful when it can reach the context that matters. Web research can bring in current public information. Workspace integrations can add business context from services such as email, calendars, and documents. Other connectors can bridge Claude to tools used by teams. An MCP, the Model Context Protocol, provides a standardized way for AI systems to connect with external data sources and tools. The critical idea is not to give an AI unlimited access to everything. It is to give controlled access to the right context for the task. In a mature workflow, you should be able to tell what came from a connected source, what came from the web, and what is Claude's own inference. That separation improves trust and makes review much easier. For developers, Claude Code brings the AI collaboration model into the software engineering workflow. The advantage is that the task can span many files and many steps. Claude can help understand an unfamiliar code base, trace dependencies, explain architecture, propose changes, create or refactor code, run tests, inspect failures, and iterate. This is especially useful for migrations, bug fixing, test generation, and codebase onboarding. But the correct operating model is not let the AI commit whatever it wants. Human review remains critical for architecture, security, business logic, data handling, and production changes. The best developer workflow is one where Claude accelerates exploration and execution, while tests, code review, and engineering judgment remain the final quality gates. MCP, or Model Context Protocol, is important because it addresses a fundamental problem. AI is much more useful when it can interact with tools and data, but every connection should not require a completely different custom integration model. MCP standardizes the way systems expose resources and actions to an AI client. On one side are your databases, APIs, files, SaaS applications, or internal services. In the middle is the MCP layer that defines what can be accessed and what tools can be called. On the other side is Claude, which reasons over the available context and selects the appropriate actions. For business leaders, the key takeaway is governance. MCP is valuable not because it provides more data, but because it can provide controlled access to the right data and the right actions. The best starting use cases share 3 qualities. The work happens frequently, it depends on a lot of information, and the result is easy for a human to review. Executives can use Claude for decision briefs, scenario analysis, and board-ready summaries. IT and security teams can use it for incident analysis, architecture review, runbooks, and control mapping. Product and operations teams can synthesize requirements, process documentation, or customer feedback. Marketing and sales teams can accelerate research, account planning, proposals, and content. Developers can use Claude for code analysis, testing, debugging, and migration work. A useful rule is to begin with a task that currently takes between 30 minutes and 2 hours. That is large enough to create measurable savings, but small enough to validate safely. Here is a good demonstration workflow for a video or workshop. Start with a realistic incident package, a timeline, log excerpts, screenshots, and notes about customer impact. Ask Claude first to identify confirmed facts. Then ask for likely root cause hypotheses, supporting evidence, and missing information. Next, have it rank the highest priority actions, with owners, dependencies, and timing. Finally, ask it to create 2 outputs, a 1-page executive brief and a technical action list. The key prompt is, use only the evidence provided and label every conclusion as confirmed, likely, or unknown. That instruction is powerful because it makes the reasoning auditable. The demonstration shows the audience that Claude can organize complexity, but it also shows that evidence and uncertainty must remain visible. A strong AI program is not built only on model capability. It also needs controls. Start by deciding what data is allowed in the tool and what account type employees should use. For business deployments, features such as single sign-on, role-based permissions, audit logs, identity provisioning, and data retention controls can become important. At the workflow level, ask for evidence, assumptions, and uncertainty. Keep human approval for consequential decisions, especially legal, financial, HR, security, customer-facing, and production actions. And measure the right things. The number of prompts is not a business outcome. Track time saved, quality improvement, reduced rework, faster cycle time, risk reduction, and adoption. AI should improve the workflow, not simply increase activity. A simple 30-day rollout can keep experimentation focused. In week 1, choose 3 workflows and capture the current baseline, how long each takes, who does it, and where quality problems occur. In week 2, create reusable prompt templates and projects so that teams work consistently. In week 3, connect approved data sources, pilot artifacts or Claude code where appropriate, and add explicit review checkpoints. In week 4, measure value. Which workflows became faster? Which outputs improved? Where did people still need to redo the work? Then document the patterns that worked and scale those, rather than trying to deploy AI everywhere at once. The objective is to create a repeatable operating model, not a collection of impressive demos. Let's finish with 3 rules. First, give Claude the context, not just the question. The quality of the answer depends heavily on the quality of the brief and the source material. Second, ask for a deliverable, not just an answer. A decision brief, a comparison table, a tested code change, a calculator, or an action plan is more valuable than a paragraph of generic advice. Third, verify important outputs before acting. Claude can accelerate thinking and execution, but responsibility remains with the human and the organization. The skill that matters most is not memorizing clever prompts. It is learning how to design better workflows. Workflows where AI handles the parts it is good at and people remain in control of judgment, risk, and accountability.